Hey everyone, and welcome. If you're trying to figure out where the absolute future of global entertainment is heading, well, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're unpacking a massive cultural and economic shift that's happening as we speak, the incredible surge in India's digital gaming and interactive media landscape. And honestly, this isn't just a tech story, it's really a story about human connection, highly localized culture, and a totally new playbook for digital marketing. 835 million. Seriously, just let that number sink in for a second. That is India's current internet user base. We're not just looking at a dry statistic here. We are witnessing a literal cultural awakening. Hundreds of millions of people are stepping into this digitally connected world, and they've got a massive, massive appetite for content, gaming, and interactive experiences. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, the Indian digital boom. Second, the state of gaming today. Then, interactive media opportunities, followed by the marketing playbook. And finally, we'll wrap up with the massive success story of BGMI. All right, section 1, the Indian digital boom. So, to understand this, you have to look at the macro foundation. India's real GDP growth is honestly just blowing past global averages right now. But here is the absolute critical takeaway for us. It's being driven by private consumption. Discretionary spending, the money people actually have left over for fun, has gone up by 5 percentage points over the last decade. People simply have more money to spend on entertainment. And that economic power is directly fueling their digital habits. Now you pair that extra cash with the demographics, and it's kind of the perfect storm. The median age in India is just 29. You combine that super young population with affordable smartphones and some of the cheapest mobile data in the entire world, and you get a population that boasts one of the highest daily smartphone engagement rates anywhere. The access to the digital world has just been completely democratized. And all of that democratized access leads us straight to this massive number, $9.3 billion. That is the size of the digital media and entertainment market in India for the 2025 fiscal year. Gaming and interactive media make up about a quarter of that, and get this, they're growing 1.5 times faster than the overall market. The money is absolutely flowing, and it is flowing directly toward mobile screens. Which brings us to Section 2, the state of gaming today. Now, the Indian gaming sector is at this super fascinating inflection point right now. Let's walk through the timeline because context is literally everything here. Back in 2016, the launch of Jio completely changed the game by offering incredibly cheap data. Fast forward to 2020, the COVID lockdowns hit, which sparked a massive social gaming revolution, where millions of people just wanted to connect through games like Ludo King. But 2025 is the big pivot. The central government stepped in to prohibit real money online games. And that structural reset means the entire focus of the industry has aggressively shifted toward pure digital games and esports. And this brilliantly illustrates the aftermath of that reset. Even with the ban on real money gaming, look at this. The pure digital gaming market is projected to double to $4.3 billion by 2030. That's an 18% compound annual growth rate. Meanwhile, esports is just scaling incredibly fast, projected to triple to $120 million. So the regulatory reset definitely didn't kill the market. It just redirected all that raw enthusiasm straight into core gaming and competitive esports. Next up, Section 3, interactive media opportunities. Because, you see, gaming is really just one piece of this giant puzzle. There's an entire ecosystem exploding right now to meet the highly localized needs of India's Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, often called PODIT. This interactive media market is expected to skyrocket to $3.2 billion by 2030. But look at where that growth is actually happening. It's not your standard social media. Astro and devotional tech, which is basically digitizing massive offline traditions, is projected to reach $1.3 billion. Microdramas, those quick mobile-first shows, are expected to hit $1.1 billion, and audio streaming is quadrupling to $300 million. Why? Because these are platforms custom-built for the unique mobile-first culture of India's youth. Section 4, the marketing playbook. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast it shows. If you're a developer, you absolutely cannot just copy and paste a Western strategy into India. It won't work. In Tier 1 markets like the US, higher purchasing power means you focus heavily on in-app purchases and rewarded ads. But India is a highly cost-sensitive Tier 2 market. You need localized video ads with regional influencers, banner ads, and offer walls, where users earn rewards for downloading other apps or doing tasks. You've really got to monetize through volume and localized engagement, instead of just banking on a few massive spenders. So how do we actually capture this audience? What are the boots-on-the-ground tactics? First, soft launching is a must so you can test lower-risk campaigns. Second, deep localization. It goes way beyond just translating English to Hindi, as we'll see in a second. Third, community building. You've got to be active on platforms like Reddit and Discord for that real-time interaction. And finally, user-generated content. Letting Indian players show off their own authentic gameplay is straight up the most cost-effective user acquisition tool you can use. Finally, Section 5. Let's look at the ultimate case study, the massive success of BGMI. To truly prove that all these marketing theories actually hold up in the real world, we just have to look at Krafton. Why is a South Korean game developer going all in on India? Well, just 1 year into its release, Battlegrounds Mobile India, BGMI, hit over 100 million users. It became the #1 app for sales in the entire country. It even became the first esports event broadcast live on Indian TV, pulling in 24 million simultaneous viewers. They literally cracked the code. So the real question is how they cracked it. Look at this insight from Brian Lim over at Krafton's India support team. He realized BGMI gave young Indians exactly what they needed, a way to hang out. In places where entertainment options might be limited, gaming becomes the main social event. And get this, voice chat in BGMI is used more in India than anywhere else in the world. India has 23 common languages, and typing on a phone in those languages can be super complex. Voice chat completely bypasses that. The game is essentially functioning as a vital social network. Because they didn't just port over a global hit, right? They hyper-localized the whole shebang. First, they made absolutely sure they complied with Indian government data guidelines, a really smart move to separate it from the global PUBG Mobile. Then, they added exclusive in-game events specifically for Indian holidays. They're even bringing in character skins of top Bollywood stars. They didn't just make a game for India, they made the game undeniably Indian. Which brings us to this really powerful quote from Krafton's Hans Kim. Their entire marketing catchphrase is, "It's not just a game, it's an emotion." They don't just want a high player count today. Their ultimate goal is to be the most beloved gaming company for India's youth 10 years down the road, literally building a whole ecosystem with local tournaments and grassroots engagement. Which leaves us with this final, kind of provocative thought. We've talked about the 835 million internet users. We've seen the $9.3 billion market size. We've seen exactly how deep localization and social connection can turn a simple game into a cultural emotion. BGMI was the first massive breakthrough, but with an average age of 28 and 1.4 billion potential players stepping into the digital age, what in the world is going to be the next mega hit to capture the heartbeat of India? I'm telling you, it is the absolute biggest open opportunity in digital entertainment right now. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time. Hey everyone.